Welcome everyone to Health Matters. Today we have a bunch of great health topics that I will be covering. So I'm talking about gout, I'm talking about fatty liver and how to detoxify and why that's so important for your overall health as well and for prevention of fatty liver. I'm talking about ladies and the guys too, yeast infections and candida issues. We'll be discussing that. I've got a great recipe for you if you're suffering with hair loss or you know somebody who's struggling with this. I have a great recipe that I'll be sharing with you. And I'm talking about the best remedy for anxiety. Now, next week, I just want to make a little mention here that we will be on summer hiatus. So we won't be here next week, but we'll be returning the following week at a new time. So that's a special day and time. It will be on Monday, August the 29th at 1 p.m. So please put that in your calendars. The next Health Matters show will be Monday, August 29th at 1 p.m. Please don't miss that show. It's going to be a great one. And we are on hiatus next week. We do have our trivia section coming up, so don't go anywhere. Again, this week we're playing for the Vitatree Turmeric Curcumin Vegan Joint Formula. And one of our lucky winners will be randomly selected from anybody who's participating in the quiz section of the show. So make sure that you are doing your best to answer the questions. If you do have questions and comments throughout the show as well, make sure you put them in the comment section no matter where you're watching from. But this is from our great sponsors at Vitatree, and we thank them as we do every week for allowing the Health Matters show to be possible. I want to congratulate last week's winner was Ashika2982 from TikTok, and you won the Vitatree Fat Factor, so congratulations. Again, every week a new winner, so make sure you do your best in the quiz section of the show, which is coming up in a little bit. And make sure that you are following Team Dr. J9. So if you are watching on TikTok, on Instagram Live, make sure that you are following Team Dr. J9 so that we can reach out to you if you are our lucky winner. I want to say a quick hello to a few of the people here. Don Sell, hello, nice to see you. Producer 778, nice to see you. Kay Campbell, hello, good morning to you as well. I know a bunch of you are tuning in. Thank you to everybody who's following and all the new followers. Arletta, hello, nice to see you. Keith B, Johnny Cat, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing today's live as well, and maybe get a few of your friends in on that quiz section of the show as well and to learn some new health information. Okay, let's start with gout. And detoxifying the body is really important in terms of anybody who's suffering with gout. We know, and if you've gone through this, the most common symptoms of having gout would be pain, of course, in the big toe, and this is because the uric acid crystals are accumulating in this area. You could have that pain, could be in the knees as well. It could be in the feet, it could be in the ankles, it could even be in the fingers. So a lot of people who think it's an arthritis type of pain, this can actually be gout that you're experiencing. And often the joints are going to feel very hot and there will be heat sensation on what to touch on the outside, but they can be swollen, of course, as well, and there could be some stiffness and lack of range of motion in those joints. Now, some of the causes maybe that you haven't heard as it's related to gout are EMFs. So if you don't know what EMFs are, please check out my other shows on these electromagnetic fields and frequencies. It's radiation, and I'm not talking about the natural ones that we get from the earth and the sun. I'm talking about the man-made EMFs. They're called non-native EMFs, and they do have a really big impact on our cellular function and the way that our body works. And in terms of gout, we know, and it's been discovered, that uric acid is not necessarily the bad guy. Uric acid is very protective. It's like a free radical scavenging antioxidant that helps to scavenge extra oxygen that's in the system and free radicals. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that there's an imbalance in your body and the EMF exposure. So if you're that person who's on devices all day, on your computer, you're never grounded, you have a lot of blue light toxicity as well, which only makes things worse, then this can definitely make those gout symptoms worse. So this is why when I get to the tips for gout and how to detox for this, it's really, really important that you are aware of why. It's not, in my opinion, again, and based on the research, it's not necessarily some of those bad foods that we think that always cause gout. That is a factor, and I'm going to get to the foods as well that you need to really focus in on, but from a different viewpoint as to the reason as to why they could be problematic and inflammatory in terms of the gout. Now, we know that if there's an insulin resistance problem, and usually there's a leptin resistance that happens first, especially in the liver, this can be related to developing gout as well. Certainly if there's kidney toxicity, and this is something that I saw time and time again with my patients who suffered with gout, we always had to focus on doing that full body detox, especially working on the kidneys to get rid of some of that toxicity in the kidneys as it was related to that uric acid level. And certain medications will also cause gout. So diuretics or water pills, low dose aspirin can exacerbate gout, yes, and I know that that's prescribed to a lot of people. Some immunosuppressant drugs as well can be related to developing gout. Now, another thing in terms of what the research has shown now in terms of the wrong type of sugar. So as much as people are told that having a lot of juice, fruit juice, and lots of fruits in their diet, well, it's been discovered, and this is back in 2010, and this was a study published in the Journal of American Medical Association, so JAMA, a big research study, that participants who drank one fructose-rich beverage a day were 74% more likely to develop gout than those who had one high fructose drink a month. So fructose, what is fructose? That's fruit sugar, and that's commonly found in fruit juices and things. So you really, and honey and agave, so you really have to be aware of that fructose intake and really focusing in on lower fructose intake. We know that this is related to, of course, in terms of fatty liver, which I'll also be talking about. That fructose intake is a direct correlation with developing that fatty liver again. So when we're wanting to get rid of gout or prevent gout, and we don't want it to ever come back again, here are my tips for gout, which are really important. So number one, of course, fix your environment. You want to decrease your EMF exposure. You want to wire in your electronics. So if you do have a desktop computer, you make sure that it's wired in. You're not using that Wi-Fi if you can help it. You should not be using the earbuds. So the Bluetooth earbuds, really bad. They're frying your brain, and that will have a negative impact on your brain chemistry, but also your cellular chemistry. We know that the brain controls everything else in the body. If we've got inflammation happening in the brain, and the cell phone close to the ear, these are big no-nos. Put it always on speakerphone, and there are earbud types of earphones that you can use as well to mitigate your risks against those EMFs. But do check out my other shows on EMFs and what you can do and how you can mitigate those risks. Number two is to get grounded. So especially if you've got that gout in your big toe, what I want you to do is every day get out with your bare feet on the earth, ideally on grass, because a bit of the moisture of the grass is going to help to bring those electrons from the earth into your body. Sand equally as great. Concrete, as long as there's not a barrier underneath the concrete, is a great way to ground as well. Do that for as many minutes as possible. It only takes a few seconds to bring those electrons into the body, and if you're lucky, if it's in your toe, because those electrons right on direct contact are going to come into and have that anti-inflammatory effect on that gout right there. But for those electrons to really move throughout the body to get to the head, you've got to be out there at least grounding 20 minutes, ideally, if you can. Number three, for detoxing and for gout especially, is to do that regular full body detox. So really getting those toxins out of the internal organs. Focusing on some of the herbal medicines for kidneys, which I love, are bearberry herbal medicine, and parsley, which is a gentle diuretic, really helps to move and flush those toxins through those kidneys. Making some dietary changes is going to be important as well. So of course, having less fructose, less sugars in general, and fixing your leptin and your insulin resistance. So I've got a ton of videos, as you know, on leptin resistance, so make sure you check those out. That's really the starting point, in my opinion, is to fix that hormonal signaling, and then the inflammation in the body starts to disappear. Now, there are specific anti-inflammatories that are great for gout as well, as proven in the literature, like boswellia, which is a herbal medicine which has the same type of effects, an anti-inflammatory and pain-killing effects, and they've compared it up against some of the big, anti-inflammatories, the drugs, and it's really done well even after you stop taking it. So that is one of the great things that I love about boswellia, as well as glucosamine. We know that chondroitin sulfate as well are great anti-inflammatories. And another thing that you can take are proteolytic enzymes. So I really love taking an enzyme blend of 14 different plant-based enzymes, especially focusing on those proteins. And that's what a proteolytic enzyme does, is it breaks down proteins, and it takes the work off of the kidneys having to break down those proteins in your diet. And of course, tip number 4 is to incorporate more of the foods that are better for gout. And we're going to talk about those, because some foods are better than others. And here's my list. So the 6 best foods for gout. So number 1, tart cherries. Maybe you've heard about this. So the best varieties of cherries are the Montmorency or the Balaton variety of the cherries. And studies have shown, so in the study, they found that the current evidence supports an association between cherry intake and a reduced risk of gout attacks. So that's huge to find that in the literature, to see that correlation between being able to use something directly from nature. Now, keeping in mind though, it's tart cherries. Tart cherries have less fructose. They are quite tart. They're not the sweet, sweet cherries. It's very different. And because we have to watch the fructose intake, of course, when we have gout. Number 2 is to incorporate more grass-fed and wild fish. So healthy, more easily digested forms of protein in the diet is important. And why do I say grass-fed or wild fish? Well, typically their feed is going to be lower in deuterium. And if you don't know what deuterium is, it's heavy hydrogen. I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the lower deuterium foods in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. But that's really important. Number 3, as a best food for gout, is pastured eggs. So again, it goes into the feed. What the hens and the chickens are being fed makes a big difference in terms of the quality of the egg and what you're getting in the food that you're actually eating. Number 4 is healthy anti-inflammatory fats in the diet. So avocados, avocado oil, olive oil, fantastic because of their anti-inflammatory effects. Get the PUFAs, so the very processed seed oils, out of the diet. So whether that's the canola oil, it could be the grapeseed oil, it could be the vegetable oil. They are pro-inflammatory and most times come from GMO sources, so you definitely want to get those out of the diet. Number 5 is incorporating more green leafy vegetables into the diet. Really important for those antioxidants as well, and has that flushing and diuretic effect often on the kidneys. We talked about parsley, remember, so that's a great one for the kidney health. And of course, coffee. So did you know that coffee actually helps with uric acid excretion? And so that's a great one. Great news for all the coffee lovers out there. Again, in moderation, organic preferably if you can, in terms of your coffee intake. Okay, so let's go through some of the worst foods now for gout. And this is not the list. If you were to Google the worst, foods for gout, you search this up on the internet, this isn't the list you're going to find. This is very different because this is now based on why certain foods are bad. It's not necessarily the proteins and, the foods that you're told that are high in the purines that will give you the problem with the gout. It's more about your metabolism of these foods. But we do know that number 1 on the list, fructose, is definitely the correlation between having too many fruit sugars and especially high fructose corn syrup, which is very high in fructose and it's not a natural product. That's something that's definitely going to compromise your leptin signaling as well as your insulin resistance. So that one definitely is a no-no if you've got gout. Number 2 is alcohol. So yes, we know that too much alcohol definitely will exacerbate and make the gout worse. Number 3 are foods that are high in deuterium. So remember, deuterium is heavy hydrogen, and the problem with deuterium is that it slows down our nanomotors in our mitochondria. And our mitochondria are our cells that make the most energy for us. And the more deuterium that we're ingesting, and often this is the carbohydrates, these are the foods that are often the root vegetables are higher in deuterium because they concentrate. The leaves are better because they're lower, they're already deuterium depleted. So as an example on the list, wheat flour, for example, is 150 parts per million of deuterium. That's pretty high. Beet sugar, 146 parts per million. Something like spinach is 136, so much less on that scale of high deuterium foods. So that's why often the grains being higher in deuterium are very problematic for a lot of people in terms of overall health, not just talking about gout, but in terms of overall health. And if you're trying to lose weight as well, those high deuterium foods can be very problematic because they slow down your energy production. So my tip here is focus on the lower deuterium foods. And what are they? Well, natural foods, of course. And if you are going to eat the meats, make sure that it is grass-fed and wild-caught fish and seafood as much as possible. Green leafies, because they're above the ground, so they're deuterium depleted. Nuts and seeds also are lower in deuterium. So these are my favorites. These are my go-tos and the things that I eat every day because lower in deuterium and helps with energy production. So it is fantastic to have you all here. And thank you to everyone who, and I can't see, I don't know, oh, there we go, thank you. So we have every show our viewer spotlight. So I want to focus in on all of those positive comments that keep coming in. And today we are focusing in on Thomas. And Thomas shared with us and this was on Instagram, that his wife was able to reverse her Hashimoto's with a low-carb, high-fat diet. And this elimination diet for her, she said, was able to heal her autoimmune disease. Maybe not for everyone, but it worked for her. Thank you, doctor. Great content. And that was Thomas Hughes on Instagram. So thank you, Thomas. You are a viewer spotlight for this week. Please continue to send in all of your great comments that you have and the feedback on all of the content. Thank you for all the new followers that are tuning in today. And thank you for sharing today's live as well. It's fantastic. And don't forget to always put in your good news, of course, in here. Hello, Raina. Nice to see you. Galami, nice to see you. Francis is here as well. It's great to see Sunny BC. Hello, good morning. It's great to have you here. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in today. If you're just tuning in today, we are sharing a bunch of health topics on Health Matters. So we're talking about detoxification. I will be talking about fatty liver, as well as parasite and Candida cleansing, especially for yeast infections. So that's something that I know is a problem for a lot of people, not just the ladies. This can affect the men as well. I have a great hair massage oil recipe coming up, and this is great for anyone who's suffering with hair loss. And of course, the best remedy for anxiety. I will be sharing that as well, my favorite. There's a lot to choose from, but I'll be sharing my favorite. So don't forget that next week we are on hiatus, so we won't have a show next week, but coming back the following week. So on Monday, the time is changing. It will be on Monday, August the 29th at 1 p.m. So a new time and a new day. It's Monday, August 29th at 1 p.m. Please join me then for Health Matters after the hiatus. It will be a fantastic show. I can't wait to see you then. And again, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's so great to have you all here. Thank you for all the new followers and for all of your fantastic comments. I will answer a few questions after we close the show on TikTok and on Instagram, so don't go anywhere. Okay, let's talk about fatty liver. So when we talk about having a healthy liver, this is something that's definitely on the rise, that people are suffering with fatty liver. It's a very common diagnosis these days. Some of the signs and symptoms could be very silent. So you don't necessarily know that you have fatty liver until you go and you have a checkup and it's, yes, discovered that you have fatty liver. You could have low energy. You could have a bit of uncomfortable feeling, especially on the upper right quadrant of your body. So that would commonly be something as well. You could have the lighter stools. You could have floating stools as well, meaning that your fats aren't being properly digested and absorbing maybe not your fat-soluble vitamins. You could be craving a lot of sweets, and you could have difficulty losing weight. So you could be gaining some weight, and that can be related to that fatty liver. Some of the causes of fatty liver include fructose, again, so coming back, remember for gout, the fructose was a problem, and for fatty liver as well, so you got to watch the fruits, and not too much or any fruit juice really. And you have to address that leptin resistance. So yes, leptin resistance, leptin signaling, if you don't know what it is, please check out my other videos. I've got a ton on them. You've got to fix that leptin resistance, especially in the liver. And this is really important for that fatty liver as well. And toxins. So when you have a high toxin load, you haven't detoxed in a while, this is really important that you are helping. And we've been able to help a lot of people with doing a full body detox to actually reverse that fatty liver. Yes, it is possible. So some of my favorite herbals, again, in part of doing a full body detox, one of the best ones for the liver is milk thistle. And milk thistle not only helps to detoxify the liver cells, but it also helps to regenerate healthy liver cells. So that's the amazing attributes of milk thistle. I also love turmeric, and especially the concentrated curcumin. And curcumin is something that has been shown now in the studies. Compared against placebo, curcumin was associated with a significant reduction in liver fat content. 78.9%. That's a huge percentage of improvement in the curcumin versus the 27.5% improvement in the placebo group. So really important if you do have fatty liver, and this is when I say that it is possible naturally to really have an impact on certain things that have gone out of balance in your body. that turmeric plus the concentrated curcumin is definitely one of those things that you can do for fatty liver, as proven by the research. Okay, so here are the 5 best foods for fatty liver, and we know that we have to address the leptin resistance in fixing that fatty liver because of that inflammation that's happening, and especially in the liver itself, the leptin resistance in the liver. So some of the best foods, of course, for fixing the fatty liver, but the leptin resistance as well, include seafood. So seafood is great. It has a lot of those minerals that you need in terms of supporting your body and your brain and fixing that leptin signaling. Number 2 is grass-fed meat, which we talked about, and pastured eggs is number 3. And these are really important because of what these animals are fed is usually lower in deuterium, and that's going to have a better impact on when you eat the lower deuterium foods now. Number 4 is leafy greens, but the more bitter, the better. So really going for those bitter greens is going to, yes, not always the most palatable for everyone, but you do get used to it. And this is what your liver loves the most, is the bitter greens. And number 5 is lemon in water. So wake up first thing in the morning, have a big glass of water first thing before you put anything into your body. Squeeze some lemon. I usually use a half a lemon and drink that down, and then I'll brush my teeth after that because some of that acid can have an effect on your tooth enamel, so then I'll brush my teeth right after that. So that's a tip I want you to implement. If you're not already doing that, it's a fantastic way to start your day for that hydration, but helps with that fatty liver as well. Okay, I promised we would talk about parasites and especially Candida, and detoxing and doing Candida cleansing, especially if you suffer with yeast infections. And some of the causes, if you are prone to yeast infections, could be eating a lot of sweets, especially the sugar, refined sugars, carbohydrates. Alcohol will feed this Candida as well. And this will also, if you have a lowered immune system for whatever reason, maybe you're on medications or you're suffering through another disease process, this can put you at risk for that Candida as well. And changes in your hygiene. So in terms of ladies' hygiene and not having enough air in the area in terms of yeast infections, that's really important. A lot of natural beauty products and soaps and things can also change the pH in that area, so it's really important to be able to keep that pH in that right zone in terms of being able to have that healthy balance of the microbiome and staving off the Candida, which will make you very prone to those yeast infections. Now, in terms of energy medicine, you know that I like to talk about that mind-body connection. Any unresolved relationship issues, usually related to the second chakra. So the second chakra is this energy center down here. That can also be a big factor in terms of developing a lot of chronic infections, especially yeast infections and urinary tract infections. So my tips here for dealing with this Candida and doing the Candida detox for the yeast infections: number 1, doing regular parasite and Candida types of cleanses. There are specific herbal medicines that are very good at killing Candida, so that's really important. Number 2 is to eat and incorporate more live foods. So kombucha, maybe the yogurt, the kefir into your diet, the sauerkraut, kimchi, fantastic to be able to get those probiotic containing foods into the diet. You may need to go with a probiotic supplement as well to help to get your numbers up of that healthy microbiome. Number 3 is eating less sugar, of course, and carbohydrates, so you got to watch your sweets intake. Number 4, again, the grass-fed meat and poultry, because the regular fed meat and poultry, we know unfortunately is very prone to be given antibiotics, and this is going to mess up your microbiome. Even when you're ingesting in tiny, tiny amounts, this can really offset what's going on with your healthy gut. Number 5 is natural sunlight exposure, really important for fixing your leptin signaling, for decreasing your, being prone to immune issues, but also helping to set up those healthy microbiomes, especially exposing your abdomen and your gut to that natural sunlight is really going to have a great effect on your microbiome. And number 6 is having a high protein breakfast. This is part of, again, fixing that Candida issue, the leptin signaling, and ramping up your immunity as well, but also helping to kill off that Candida. So I hope you love those tips. Again, you can refer back to this video. It will live forever on YouTube, so you can refer back to it if you missed anything. Okay, so now we're getting into hair loss tips, and I'm going to be sharing in just a moment. I'm going to go over here in just a moment and share a fantastic recipe to really help you to regrow your hair. So there are certain nutrients we know if you've suffered with hair loss, We know that certain nutrients are absolutely essential for having normal, healthy hair growth. So one of them is MSM. This is really important for the keratin levels in our body. An amino acid L-lysine is important as well. And horsetail. Now, horsetail is a herbal medicine. It's known as equisetum, and equisetum has silica, and silica we know is really important for that normal hair growth. Okay, so I'm going to share my recipe with you. This is something that you do at bedtime, and you're using avocado oil, and what you're doing is you're mixing in 5 drops of rosemary essential oil into, and I'm just guesstimating, of course, a half a cup to a quarter cup of avocado oil, depending on how big your head is and how much hair you have. You may need a little bit more, but you're just going to mix that avocado oil in with your 5 drops of your rosemary essential oil. So I'm just going to put my 5 drops in here. And rosemary is known to stimulate. This has actually been proven in the literature. There's been studies done on rosemary oil helping to increase the growth of the hair follicles. So this is important. And it's nourishing. So that's something you can mix then a little bit with your finger. And all you do, and I'm not going to do it because it'll mess me up for the rest of the show, but I just kind of sloth it on with my fingers like this, and I rub it all into my scalp. And that massage part element of doing this is really important because you're increasing that blood flow as you're rubbing this in. That rosemary, don't get it in your eyes, close to your mucous membranes, because it is a little bit strong. If you were to compare it sort of to, it's not in the same family as the mints, but you know, if you've ever had mint oil too close to your eyes, it's very irritating. Same kind of effect with this. So keep it away from the eyes, massage it into the scalp, all through the hair, into your ends, and then cover your head. So you're doing this at bedtime, remember, cover your head with one of those wraps that you can get. You can wrap in a towel, whatever's comfortable for you, and then sleep with your hair like this. And it is amazing. And the next morning you're gonna rinse this out, of course, with your shower. Shampoo it out. You'll be amazed at your hair will be so shiny. It's going to be so super soft for all hair types. So this is really incredible. And then you do this over time. I like to do it probably 2 to 3 times a week if you're really aggressively trying to get that hair growth to come back. It is amazing. You're going to see that regrowth start to happen very, very quickly. And I want to hear about it. So make sure that you comment, and I want to hear how this is working for you. Okay, I'm going to go back over here now. And I want to say hello, Kay Campbell on TikTok. Hello, nice to see you. Can you reverse hair loss thinning if it's more than 10 years? Absolutely. So following some of the tips and taking some of those nutrients internally, it's always about what your body's getting internally as well. That makes a big difference. So thank you to everybody who's tuning in today. Don't forget to share today's live, and I thank all of you who have been able to do that. Thank you for all the likes coming through on TikTok. There I am. Hello, hello. I see you again. It's great to see you all. Okay, so now I'm going to share the #1 best remedy for anxiety. And you know that I could have gone anywhere here. We know that ashwagandha is fantastic. Some of my other favorite herbal medicines like passion flower, valerian are fantastic as well as things that can really help with anxiety. But for most people and across the board, I have to go with my #1 best remedy for anxiety. Can you guess what it is? It's magnesium. So magnesium is so important for brain function, and specifically magnesium bisglycinate. So glycine is something, so when I say magnesium bisglycinate, because we know that there's a whole different, lots and tons of different types of magnesium, but specifically the bisglycinate, it's bound to glycine. Now glycine is an amino acid, which is also works like a neurotransmitter. So we need that glycine in so many, and I promise in the future I will do a whole segment just on glycine, because the benefits of glycine as it works in the body for your brain function, and it's actually a treatment for schizophrenia. Like it's crazy how fantastic this glycine is in a good way, but really, really important. So magnesium bisglycinate. So that's my #1 remedy for anxiety. Okay. Are we ready? It's quiz time! Yay! So we are playing this week for the turmeric curcumin vegan joint. So from our great sponsors at Vitatree, we thank them for allowing and sponsoring this program to allow this program to be possible in the first place. So this is what you're playing for. Remember, if you're new here, if it's your first time, you just have to try to answer the questions. I understand if you don't If you didn't, you're just tuning in now, you don't know what's going on, it's totally cool. Just try to answer the questions. Just put something in the comments, no matter which platform you're on. And we randomly select from everybody who participated. We randomly select every week a new winner, and you have the ability to win this. Okay, and congratulations to our previous week's winner. Are we ready? Okay, quiz question number 1. What type of sugar makes gout and fatty liver worse? What type of sugar makes gout and fatty liver worse? Candy Kiss 2020, very quick. Woo, Francis, very good. Panda May, hello, very, very good. Nice. Don Sol, good. Keith, Liz M. Rock, hello. Seagal, sorry. KQN, oh, I can't hear you very well. I got to tune you up. Okay, now I think yes, much better. Diva Organic, good job. Sonia, good job on Facebook. Ivana, good job. Lisa as well. Nadia, Chantal, Seesor, nice. Raina, K, SVX, Patty, Charlie Angel, Tundra, good try. Amy, Carmen, Bab, wow. Julie Bean, thank you for all the new followers here. I see a bunch of new people. Thank you for everyone tuning in. You're doing great, everyone. Good job. Keep it up. Keep it up. Bahich is here as well. Good job. Good answer. Good answer. Juliana. Arletta, Kimmy as well, good job. Althea, nice job. The Reese Jerome, Therese, sorry, my bad. Therese Jerome, good job. Shamiz, hello, good morning, nice to see you. Tamara, the blue agave syrup, organic, it's good. Blue agave syrup's very high in fructose, so you got to watch that if with gout, fatty liver, some of the things that we talked about today. But great. Wendy, oh, maybe that was your answer? Yes, you're right, you're right. I'm not. Yes, you're right. That's very specific. Okay, so the answer was fructose. The answer was fructose. So the agave, yes, absolutely. Kay Little on YouTube, good job. Good answer, good answer. I see that now. Good job, everyone. So fructose, the fruit sugar is really bad for gout and fatty liver. Great answers, everyone. I think everybody, I didn't see any wrong answers, so everybody got it correct. Okay, number 2, true or false? You can experience gout pain in the fingers. True or false? Let's see who is paying attention. Remember, I always take the questions now from today's show, so you had to watch the show to be able to answer correctly. TikTok has it. Woo! Okay, Francis, good try. Bahich, good job on Instagram. Panda May, Kimmy, good job. Donsal, I got cute hair. I like that. Good job, Liz M. Rock, Diva Organic. Amy, Lisa, Patty, I can't keep up. Tamara, SVX, Kay, did I say Kay? Seagal, good try. Juliana, Elaine, Wendy, Keith, Amy, Sharda, Althea, Raina, Carmen Bab, Cesar, Francis, oh, thank you. Therese Jerome, yes. Kaylin, good job, good job. Thank you for the share, user 840. Thank you for sharing today's live. Anybody else? Sonia, good job. The answer was, so can you experience gout in your fingers? The answer is true. Yes, so it's something to be aware of. And again, we're referencing back everything that we talked about in today's show to help you if you are experiencing gout. Usually it's going to be hot and swollen. Hot and swollen, that's usually gout if you're getting it anywhere in the body. But if it's in the fingers, if it's feeling hot to the touch even, that can be gout. So just be aware. Okay, final question for today. Remember, you're playing for this, so everybody participate. Here we go. What specific herbal medicine has been found in a study to reduce fatty liver by over 70%? Which herbal medicine helps to reduce? Thank you, Charlie Angel, for all the likes. Thank you. Herbal medicine has been found in a study to reduce fatty liver by over 70%. Liz Rock, good try. Francis, good job. Caesar, nice try. Sonia, KQN, good job. Nadia, a lot of good tries here. Kimmy as well, thank you. Paula, good job on YouTube on the previous question. Nice. I missed that one. Lisa, good job. Keith, good job. Patty, good job. Tamara, Julia? Juliana, good job. Donsal, nice. Ivana, Reina, good try. Therese Jerome, good try. Kaylin, good try. Kimmy, good try. Good job, good job. Anybody else? Charlie Angel, nice. Bear, 1966, hello, nice to see you. Yes, yes. Sharda, good. User 840, who also sent the likes, I believe. Thank you so much. Good job. Everybody got their answer in? The specific herbal medicine found in a study to reduce fatty liver by over 70%. It's huge. It's huge. I always refer back to this study because when I educate people about this herbal combination, really, really important that you know the benefits. So if it can reverse it, imagine what it can do for prevention of fatty liver. Arletta, nice job. Good. Sonia, good job as well on Facebook. And the answer is turmeric, of course, and the concentrated curcumin. So good job, everyone. I know a few of you said milk thistle. It may have an effect, but the study that I was referring to was done on curcumin. So today we talked all about gout. We talked about detoxing for fatty liver, the best foods for fatty liver. We talked a little bit about Candida and Candida cleansing, and of course yeast infections, what you can do and how to prevent. I shared my massage oil technique and what to do in terms of mixing that up with the rosemary oil and the avocado oil. So if you missed that, please refer back to it as well in today's episode. And the best remedy for anxiety. Now remember, next week we are on summer hiatus. We are returning the week of August the 29th, but the show that week is on August 29th, on the Monday, returning at 1 p.m. So a special day and time for that show. One of my goals is to teach you how to empower yourself over the healing of your own